Hey everybody, the Respiral here, and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Oh man. Ugh. I'm just recording this the same day I did the last session because I want to finish this game, and I'm really curious to see where this goes. Where it leads, etc. Like, I'm so into it. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. Hey Thomas. How's it going? I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to do, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. Sheesh. Yep, forging evidence. Great stuff. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. Oh dear. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark killings. Trial. What the hell am I saying? I didn't see that one coming. Oh damn. Twists and turns. Nothing but twists and turns. SL9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. Okay. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. Ooh. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture. Ooh. After the incident? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up that crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence, but Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. I'm pretty sure he didn't, considering he had a bit of an outburst. No! He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumours about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. Oh, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. That makes sense. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Investigation day number 3.5. Day 3's trials just ended. We've got detective work to do, and then it's day 4, I think. But don't worry about not tuning in. Tune in when you're able to. It's all good. And if you want to catch up on previous streams, then they're all in an archive, so it's all good. Oh dear. Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. Not surprising. Oh, and Lana found her. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. So she was 14 when that happened. Jesus. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Oof. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Really? Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's office, or offices, and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. Oh, she was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Alright, time to make a move. Over to the DC. February 24th. Detention Center Visitors Room. Lana, we have some questions. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about the unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Aha! So, today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Just like the DL6 incident. Evidence from that case was stolen. I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. Detective Lana Sky. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. Oh man, look at him. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? Then he was the vice head of criminal affairs. Oh, then he was the vice head of criminal affairs, but he still worked at the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was... to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could later use that experience in court. Gant's help in the SL9 case was critical in its resolution. After that, he became chief of police, and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Dark investigation. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the chief detective was, no doubt, Damon Gant. Yes, Detective Gant and I shared the same office, and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when the last murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. First one at scene! Detective Gant and Prosecutor Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages when Dark must have panicked. He waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Detective Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you're the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Oh dear. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor, and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her system must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Oh boy. Move! To the criminal affairs. Not criminal affairs. Sheesh. So there's that. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kinda quiet around here today. You're right. The head of the department seems the same though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Indeed. Move. To the entrance. At the entrance. Oh, Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation? It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why did prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Hey, we can talk to him. The Dark Trial. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switched knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But, in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. Oh. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? Oh dear. That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. Jesus. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother. He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honour that very day. The highest honour? Yeah, King Prosecutor. You don't mean... King of Prosecutors. Not that again. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honour for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. It's really weird. There was something going on behind the scenes, in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Oh, like let go and everything. Except for Goodman. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. Now they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambino. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Oh. Gant and Skye. Chief Detective Damon Gant and his second-in-command Lana Skye. That picture again. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambino, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him the evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Oh damn. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambino. Aw, man. Well, I guess that's that. So essentially, this trial's just teaching you, don't trust anybody. Criminal affairs. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. No, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did, and the decision about what to do, about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir? We'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just head across the hall to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the Chief's office. You got it. To the Chief's office. Oh my. What the hell is this? Decor. Hey, I see a picture. That's definitely Lana Skye, and I'm assuming Gant. I can't really tell. They're nothing but pixels. From here. It's basically just like a smudge. Right, Chief's office. Oh, right, that explains why this is his theme. Explains why this is his theme. Oh, there it is. Gant, Marshall, Lana. And maybe Jake Marshall too? I don't know. Whoa, where am I? God damn it, my throat. So in the Chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me... I thought it said Little Miss Bitch. Little Miss Buck. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Oh dear. I never could remember where C was. Hmm? Oh dear. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Mr. Wright, have you been swimming lately? Why does he ask that every time? No, I haven't. I've been kinda busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too. With Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Ah, my voice. It's just like wanting to disappear. Oh, it's like armor. Hold up. That vase in the background. Is that what I've got broken pieces of? I know it's a very weird thing to get, or to have an issue with, but... that's definitely it. Look at it. You can see the similarities. That's interesting. If it was in here, why was it in a locker? And why was it broken? It wasn't even in a locker, it was just broken on the floor. Weird. Either way. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. I can. Yeah, I can. It's the fact that that has a vase in it that's now destroyed. Canteen picture has been added. I really don't like Gant. I don't know what it is. He's got a very intimidating presence about him. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office... it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Yeah, something with him is really fucking off. I don't know what it is. It's just something about him I don't like. And he's very... off-putting. Now hurry up and get out, I have a meeting to attend. Also the fact as soon as we brought that up, he changed. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like, a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Bum ba bum. Okay. I'm trying to think where else I could go. Just move around the world. You might get a hit. Criminal affair. Hey, Gumshoe! Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. Were you in a meeting? I was, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long in the meeting? Why would his feet hurt from that? Actually, I had to serve everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? Oh, heartburn. Whew. That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. But he didn't know. Yikes. Like, obviously he's not going to assume that every bit of evidence he gets is false. Or forged. Edgeworth's crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Exactly, that's what I was saying. Lana is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence he presents in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumours going around about Mr. Edgeworth. Those who don't like him haven't been able to do anything because of his amazing talent as a prosecutor, but now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only had that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime, my treat. Yes sir. Gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay Dick? Yes sir. It seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. I mean, who wouldn't? Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl? Some girl? Is the girl stood next to me, dude? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realised Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. What? Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Good idea. Wait, Dark's crimes first. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? Really? He killed a man that witnessed the accident, then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then when burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and he was killed as well, finally he turned himself in. What the fuck? Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but fortunately, he was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness. He must mean Emma. Right, now we can present the switchblade. To jog his memory. Hi Goldie. How's it going? Switchblade knife. About this. Hey, don't tell me that's... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Okay, alright, yeah, we can talk to him. Talk! Murder weapon! This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, and it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Oh, I see. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Holy shit. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fibre.